Let me tell you, hardly one family member in the West will be able to have a job after the financial reset happened. California could be affected, New York could be affected, Mumbai could be affected, but the Mandir towns, nothing will ever happen to them. They will always survive. Think about it today, these private hospitals, they keep a dead body for 7 whole days just to create fake bills. How does that make you feel? It is because you had a problem with that system, the one that was serving society without having an objective of legitimate financial enrichment. You have a problem with that Vedic Brahmin and with all of the mandirs that they happen to own. For them, it is being said that there are waiting lines that go on for 2 to 3 hours. I am talking about China's mandirs. They will get funding from the state, funding from the monarch. Gurukuls will run on the same campus. Not mandirs inside Gurukuls. The idea is to have the Gurukuls operating from within the Mandir campus itself. We are talking about the role of the Mandir ecosystem in the Sanatan economics model. And in this, I am beginning to understand that Ayodhya will become a central node, something that Jaishankar ji has also spoken about, that Bharat connects the east and the west and the north and the south. So when we talk about this connectivity in terms of geopolitics, I really feel that Ayodhya is going to be a central seat, which will become the central node of this Mandir ecosystem. And a completely seamless connectivity will be created. The very first one that I can see is this Mithila Ayodhya Lanka corridor. This is exactly what looks to me as being the priority project that should begin. Because you will see that just recently news has come from Sri Lanka as well, talking about connectivity and also about implementing visa-free travel. Besides that, the whole decolonization wave that I always talk about, it is only natural that they will also trace their own roots. So one corridor is going to be built here. And for the second one, you already know that we talk about POK, specifically the one with Sharda Peeth. And over there, there are a great many Bharatiya Mandir sites, for example, the Hinglaj Mata Mandir. So you know that for Pakistan's cash flow, this is truly one of the most feasible and correct alternatives available to them. Then on the other hand, in Afghanistan, you can see that below the Bamiyan Buddha, they have now started saying that this will become a tourist spot. So they have even gone and set up a counter down below for people who are visiting. And in Pakistan, according to the most recent news, virtual touring is also scheduled to begin for all of the ancient Hindu and Sikh sites. So you see similar developments are happening on that side as well. Here in China, I think I predicted about a year and a half ago that all of the mandiro are going to start to be revived inside of China. So they have not actually started reviving yet, but for all of the mandiro that they currently have right now, it is being said that there are waiting lines that can last for 2 to 3 hours. I am talking about China's mandirs. All right. So this is happening under a communist regime because you already know that a great deal of our analyst work is based on a completely anti-China and anti-communist perspective. So they should also understand this particular development, that when all the mandirs there are eventually revived, you will see the exact same thing happening in Southeast Asia as well. That they themselves will begin to revive all of their mandiro. So in addition to the responsibility we have already taken for a mandir in Cambodia, this will also extend all the way to Laos. And over here in Saudi Arabia, as I always mention, all of the ancient mandir sites that exist there will begin to be resurrected as soon as the de-radicalization process is complete. So in every single place, you are able to see the revival of the mandir ecosystem. Now, why is it that this is able to happen? We will look at this on a case-by-case basis. First of all, let's take a look at China's case. So China, before the year 1962, right before the 1962 war, what China did was, their ambassador who was in the US, he had given a statement about 25 years ago. He had given a statement saying that India rules China culturally without ever having to fire a single bullet across. the Chinese ambassador to the US, Hu Shi, when the Chinese Communist Party in the 1962 CCP plenary, the CPC plenary, takes this decision that we must bring an end to all dharmic practices by initiating a cultural revolution. So, in that, they come to realize that there is such a great amount of pride among the people for dharmic practices that are influenced by India. So, first, India had to be punched. This right here was the reason for the 1962 war. This was the biggest reason. It was never about just taking some geography. The main objective of the Communist Party was that the influence of dharmic practices of Bharatiya origin among the Chinese people had to be completely eliminated. For this, the 1962 war happens, and then from 65, the Cultural Revolution starts. All dharmic practices like Buddhism, Taoism, all of these are completely ended. After that, you can see that in 1979, which is something I often mention, Deng Xiaoping goes to have a meeting with President Carter. He sees the technology, how in every single factory 50 cars are coming out, being manufactured. He says, I want this technology. Carter explains to him that you must completely eliminate your domestic consumption. Shopping returns and imposes the single child policy. So we are seeing two different types of reversals in China. One of them is the reversal of 1962. Xi Jinping is now saying that he wants all of the internal cycles of the economy back again. So the revival of all the old festivals beginning to happen, all the mandirons being revived again. This entire process has now started. And the second reversal, the one from 1979, which was the imposition of the single child policy to end their own domestic consumption, all in order to become the world's manufacturing giant. Second, its reversal has begun. The single child policy has been removed. Now, incentives are being given to increase the birth rates. So now, for the massive unemployment that the Chinese are currently facing amidst this whole de-dollarization, Xi Jinping used a certain word. He said, eat bitterness. You see, eat bitterness. When he was questioned about this massive unemployment problem and the entire exports to the West, if you look at the data from the last 10 to 12 months, you'll see. So the Chinese exports that used to go to the West, they have diverted 25 to 30% of it to the Middle East and Southeast Asia. Right? So because of this massive unemployment that happened, people have started queuing up in Mandiro because of all the stress. Okay, so China wants all those festivals, mandirs, and birth rates back again. So two reversals are happening inside China. The one from 1962. And the second one is this from 1979. The same theme, de-dollarization and de-radicalization. It is a very surprising thing. On the 23rd, this news of ours came out that the word Bharat will be used for Bharat, which is the change that came in NCERT, replacing India. And in the syllabus, they are talking about the revival of the Bharatiya knowledge system. And all those heroes will be talked about in the history books, the ones who soundly defeated the invaders. Exactly parallel to that, China has brought forward a nationalist education policy. Same to same date, absolutely no change. Just like our Atmanirbhar Bharat, Xi Jinping has brought 10 rules in the exact same way. Wear Chinese clothes, and if you want to travel within China. Eat Chinese food, celebrate Chinese festivals. So they have brought 10 steps exactly like the Atmanirbhar Bharat concept. So it is the same theme of de-dollarization and decolonization that will run in parallel. All the Mandir towns, they will survive for a lifetime, whether it is Banaras, Kashi, Tirupati, or now Ayodhya. Nothing is ever going to happen to them because all the economic life cycles, the entire economics is linked with the activities of those tithis and festivals of cash flow, where cash is transferred to the lower sections of society in a celebratory mode. Okay. The products of all these dharmic activities of the Mandir ecosystem are such that no capitalist can set up an industry for them. Why? Because all those products are low ticket items. They are customized and seasonal. They have all their tithis. So no one will set up a factory for them. So it saves from extreme capitalism and it helps in continuing family unit entrepreneurship. So that is why I was not at all surprised that you are seeing mandirs starting to be built everywhere in the US as well. So the mandir ecosystem is what preserves the life cycle. Whereas your Western template, that urban society template, is based on finite resources. It does not believe in the life cycle. So it is based on a one life consumption model along with the Abrahamic concept. That is precisely why you see that something can happen to California, something can happen to New York, and something can happen to Mumbai, but nothing will ever happen to the Mandir towns. They will always survive. It is because Mandir towns promote two things. The first thing they promote is a non materialistic, minimalist way of life, a place where your greed does not grow to such an extent that you start finding your resources are falling short. And the second important point is that all of the activities are intrinsically linked with the economic flow. And because of this, if you were to go back to the olden days, you would see there was a celebration for everyone's birthday, right? Think about the monarch or the state's ruler and all of their families' various events. There would be a starting point at one mandir and an end point at another. And the entire congregation of society would participate in it. Funding would come from the state, funding would come from the monarch. Gurukuls would run on the same campus. It is not a mandir inside the Gurukul, but rather a Gurukul that is on the mandir's campus. So it is the other way around, right? And secondly, it is not just this, you know, that from the entire Gaushala and so on, there's a great deal to it, you see, for societal congregation and in terms of farmland, right? Every time a monarch becomes a new king, there is his procession. If there is a birth in the family, that is treated as a completely separate event. A wedding is a separate event. And the entire society, the whole community participated in every single one, right? Even food security was handled by the mandir. In the mandir ecosystem, there was never any talk of socialist freebies where something was just given away directly. So the human body would get prasad for free. Okay, but how was this prasad given out? So that even a poor person there can eat with dignity and a rich person can also partake. No one can show any kind of arrogance. And even the one who has also deposited money there, they have placed it at God's feet. So the person donating can't show arrogance and the person receiving cannot show entitlement. Whereas in modern communist societies, the ones who take freebies lord it over you, demanding that you must pay that much tax so they can get their freebies. So this whole system is good. Secondly, you will see that this entire leftist cabal, these people talk, they will talk again and again about Brahmanical, that is their thing. Brahmanical domination. All right, you should just go and ask them that today, when these private hospitals keep a dead body inside for 7 days just to create fake bills, how exactly does that make you feel? Because you had a problem with the Vaidya who was serving society without the objective of any financial enrichment. You have a problem with that same Vedic Brahmin. So how do you feel about this private hospital where you are told to get 10 different kinds of reports simply because all of them are profit centers? All right, tell me something. Let me tell you about another Brahminical concept. At what point was the Guru Dakshina actually taken? The one who came for skill learning had to give the Guru Dakshina only after a successful demonstration of that skill. All right, for the people who talk about Brahmanical, just go and ask them. This whole admission mafia that is going on right now, how do you feel about it? Do you think it is good or not? Okay, fine. And you should also ask them this, that you demanded your rightful share from your entire family's corpus just because the grandfather was supposedly patriarchal. So if I went to ask for anything, my grandfather would just say, go on, you won't get it. Fine. But what is the problem now? When the insurance company takes a premium from them and they take a hefty amount, as much as they ask for, then they seem to have a lot of fun with it. When their bank rejects their loan application, They are having a great time. But when the grandfather was rejecting things, that was called patriarchy, right? And when your job application gets cancelled, that is apparently very amusing. When grandfather rejected it, it was a problem. So the problem with our world today is that everyone has broken their family corpus. They have all demanded their rightful share. They handed over the capital to companies and became jobbers. Now, when those people are rejecting them, they are having a lot of fun. When an employer does not give you a job, you are having a great time. But when grandfather scolded you, it was a problem. All right, because that was patriarchy, was not it? So this is the fundamental problem with our leftists and all these liberal extreme capitalism types. They do not get this, do they? All right. And all of these people, because this service sector model that has been created, where these people talk from, as soon as Diwali arrived, I had just tweeted, there is a tweet by Atishi Marlena that I have no data on where the pollution comes from. Well, if you do not have the data, then how did you decide that only Deepavali crackers cause pollution? You do not get pollution during New Year's, you do not get pollution during Christmas. For the Aam Aadmi Party, there is pollution then too. For Deepavali, okay, you have rejected it. But please tell me, what about the social capital that used to be gathered when the entire society congregates together to celebrate something? By what right do you get to cancel it? Who has given you that authority? No one is counting that loss. This whole system of extreme capitalism that you have created, where you are giving people job transfers to a new city every 3rd year, their neighbors keep changing, their bankers keep changing, their employers change, and no relatives come to visit their homes anymore. And because of that, you have these divorce rates because you're going to misbehave with each other. This is what has happened in the West. This 60% divorce rate that you see in the West, it is a result of this exact missing social capital. That no relatives are coming or going. I can misbehave as much as I want. The neighbor does not know me either. He is also new. The banker is new, which is good. 400 years ago, when there was no single country reserve currency, and when this job model did not exist, back then all this, the insurance company's profit was grandfather's profit. The banking one, right? These were all grandfather's profits, but grandfather was patriarchal, right? He would forbid me from only a few things. But if all these people reject me now, that is no problem. This is the one. So all of these waves that have been going on, I am telling you, this 400-year cycle is ending within this decade. The single country reserve currency one. Okay. Now tell me, in the West, children are all coming back to their parents' homes, the ones you kicked out. Right? How did you kick the children out? At age 15 to 16? Because the state will take care of my Medicare and my retirement benefits. That is the whole deal, right? This was only possible when you had the single country reserve currency. You see, this cycle is ending in this decade. Now, these social benefits are going to be cut after the financial reset. So you cannot just kick the children out of the house. I am specifically talking about the West. Right? Okay, the kids in the West are no less. They took out loans on credit cards because you had the reserve currency status at 1% and 2%, which means cheap money. It is free money. Frankly, it is free money. Okay. You were getting loans on this. And that is precisely why you were leaving home. Okay. So what you have over here in Bharat, all of our urban cities that are running on this Western template, these very people, these are the people who admire that the government in the West gives out so many benefits. It takes care of post-retirement and all of that, right? Companies in the West are such that they give weekends off, Saturday and Sunday off. They get 5 vacations a year, right? Income security if you do not get a job. This was possible only when there was a single country reserve currency. Now let's see any hero try this in the West after the financial reset. Now where will all of these things be sponsored from? Now we are going to see when your interest rate matches India's interest rate, then you try and run a business. Just show me Google and what is its name? Microsoft. doing these kinds of innovations at an interest rate of 7, 8, 9, or 10% at a percentage interest rate. Can you show me such innovation in the West? So, all of our people from the fiat dollar cities, they are the ones who have truly lost. They do not even know that the governments of the West are able to give these benefits because that money is going from our pockets. It is all because of that single country reserve currency status. While you are admiring it, you will finally find out when there are no jobs at all in the West. You know, I am telling you right now, barely one single family member in the West will be able to hold down a job right after the financial reset. And all the people who are coming back home will not be able to pay their EMIs. I am telling you this. And the next thing that is going to happen is they will tell their parents, you cannot even get a divorce now. We are back home. So this all comes back to that same Sanatan marriage system, which is the one that says this is not just a piece of contract. Eventually, it all comes back to that very same point, right? So this whole cycle of 400 years is coming to an end.